everyone, I'm an artist, and today we're drawing on cardboard. So obviously today we are going to be drawing on cardboard. I'm very excited for this because I've seen a lot of people do it. I haven't quite tried it yet. I've done paintings on cardboard before, but I've heard that it's a bit different with colored pencil. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Since this is my first time really drawing on cardboard, I decided to go with a more simpler sketch/drawing that I'm going to do on this, as opposed to something a bit crazier that I might normally do on regular paper that I'm used to drawing on. So the shape of the eyes are pretty simple shape, and if you want to draw along with me, you can. I'm just gonna draw it like this. It's not gonna be too this is the basic shape of the eye, and obviously it doesn't have to be like absolutely perfect, because it is an eye, and eyes definitely will look realistic pretty much any shape you do them, unless it's like a square. So yes, and the pupil actually does pretty much fill the whole eye here, so that is what I'm gonna do. And I also noticed that there's a pretty like thick, I guess you would call it, like kind of under the eye kind of pink thing. I don't really know what that's called, if anybody knows. So as I said before, it's a pretty simplistic shape, so this is what we have ended up with. So just a tip when you're drawing eyes, I don't usually like to sketch out the eyelashes because when you're going in with the colored pencil, it just really kind of smushes with the eyelash sketch, and it's just really messy and pencily, and I just don't like using it. So I'm not gonna put the eyelash sketches in until I'm ready to sketch them, per se. I want to start with the eye itself because for me, I really like doing that, but it also gives you a good idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm gonna take my kneaded eraser. Okay, and I know it looks really gross, however, the great thing about it is that it does not leave pencil shavings. So if you roll it up like this, you just kind of roll it over your drawing, it'll lightly erase your drawing, so that way your color pencil does not blend, I guess, with your drawing and make it all weird and murky. And you can go and do this as much as you want. I like to do it quite a bit because I've had some pretty interesting experiences with color pencil and pencil in the past, so yes. Let's start coloring in. So I'm going to take an alcohol marker actually, and I'm going to fill in the pupil because, ooh, I just like hit my tripod. Because it helps me just kind of see the center of the eye. And my black colored pencil looks like this, so if necessary, we have this. Fortunately, there is not a ton of black in this, so therefore I won't be needing to use that color pencil a lot. So I'm going to start filling in like the outside of the eye with white. And an important thing to note with eyes is that usually the shadow on the top of the eye isn't actually black. It never is. It's always like a blue. Sometimes I've seen green, but usually it's a blue. So if you have a navy blue, it's great to blend out like that, and I find that it looks the most realistic. Obviously, I'm not gonna like super heavily color this in because I do want to be able to blend in here, because there are a few different hues. Other than white, there's a bit of yellow, there's a bit of blue, you know, all the things. So I'm just gonna go over and do like a little light layer. So, I've gotten pretty close to the pupil. Obviously, I'm going to go back in and kind of fix it up a little because it's a little lacking. However, I do want to move on to the iris, because it is definitely a key part of the drawing, and it might take me a little bit. So, I'm starting with like using the blue because this is definitely one of the stronger things. There is also a little bit of gray in here. However, I'm just going to mix that myself. And I'm gonna just kind of go in with some yellow over here. Try not to go too strong with the shading, but except for lighter colors, you can go a little strong, but not like too. And then another hue I noticed is kind of like a greenish color. So I'm actually taking more of this army green. Actually, it's technically like olive green. And I'm gonna use that. So as you can see, I kind of like sectioned off the different layers of the iris, and I shaded accordingly there. I usually try to go in with the darker color, which in this case happened to be green, and I kind of went a little bit sporadic, and I tried to keep it a little darker in the middle. There's kind of that circle around the iris. It's not really evident in this video, but once you get to the next clip, it'll make sense, kind of. So I messed up a little with the shape of the end of the eye here. So I just kind of went in with like a brown color pencil, which is like the color it was going to be anyway over here, just to kind of like round out the shape and make it look more shapely, if you will. So now that the iris is kind of filled in like this, obviously a lot of the stuff I'm going to go back later, do some more detail, but this is how I like it for now. So now I'm going to show you how I do kind of like the inside of the eye, and then we're going to get to the skin, which is probably going to be the hardest part. However, it's going to be fun, and I'm actually thinking this is going really well. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to get back into doing this little thing at the end of the eye. I wish I knew what it was called. So like the pink thing at the end of the eye and this thing at the end of the eye, I don't know what they're called. Please, someone inform me. Anyway, let's get into that. So I messed up a little with the shape of the end of the eye here. So I just kind of went in with like a brown color pencil, which is like the color it was going to be anyway over here, just to kind of like round out the shape and make it look more shapely, if you will. What I'm doing here with the drawing is pretty self-explanatory. I'm just kind of doing the pink space around the eye. And it's pretty easy to do, honestly. It's only a few shades and there's not a ton of intense color shading. So just make sure that you get it a little lighter in the middle and darker on the edges. An important reminder that it is very important to add highlights, and you should definitely add highlights, especially to this part of the eye, the pupil. It really just kind of brightens up the whole drawing and makes it look more realistic. So with that, obviously I'm going to go back and do this later. I've said like a gazillion times in this video, but I do want to start on the skin. So when you're looking at the skin, I'm just going to insert the picture here. You want to look at the different values and tones. So obviously the skin isn't just tan. You can definitely see some purple in there. There is some yellow, and there's even a little bit of blue in there. So if you really look at it closely, you can see the skin more accurately, and it'll make it seem more realistic. So I'm just going to do a little bit of purple down here. A little bit of red there. And you can definitely observe everything. There's definitely a bit of blue down here. So there's some blue down there. So yeah, basically you can observe all the values here. And I'm also going to do a bit of white too, in spaces that are especially white, like down here. So another thing that I'm noting is, although this is not fully blended, I also want to add some texture, because this is really what makes the whole drawing, and it makes it look so realistic. Just really getting that like skin texture in there, because the area around the eye is usually not very smooth, especially with larger eyes. It's definitely a little wrinkly, and it is really important to capture the texture, especially if you're doing a close-up of not only the eye, but just like the space around it as well. So, I mean, I've pretty much blended out this whole eye, and obviously, as I've said a gazillion times in this video, I want to go back and finalize it a bit later, you know, but I do actually want to go in with the eyelashes. However, the first thing that I need to do is add the shadow under the eyelashes, and out of all the other eyes that I've drawn, I find that the shadow under the eyelashes makes it look far more realistic. So basically what you need to do is you need to take the shadow that you used for like the rest of the eye, just like a basic brown, and I'm gonna put it like where the eyelashes would fall technically, just a little under that, and it may look weird, but once you put the eyelashes down, then it'll look far better. So now it might look weird on the camera a bit, but I do also need to add a few highlights, just in general, because they really do go with like the wrinkles, I guess, and the texture of the eye. I recommend a paint pen for this, not a gel pen of any sorts, because a gel pen is, again, like kind of small, so it's kind of helpful. And my pen painting has been a little interesting lately, so that's happening. So my paint pen accidentally like exploded all over the paper. Haha, we like that. So we're just gonna kind of take a paintbrush and mop it up per se. And then I'm just gonna go back over it with color pencil, because it does that. You can go back over it. It's possible. So the drawing is pretty much done at this point. There are a few more details that I want to add, but not really a ton. And yeah, so this is basically the finished product. I think that it looks very realistic, in my opinion. Not super realistic. However, it looks pretty spicy, pretty nice. And I am very much looking forward to hanging this up on my wall. If you drew along with me, definitely leave a comment below saying how it went, and anything you'd like to see a tutorial on next. And I don't want to be one of those annoying people that like constantly promotes my social media, but I do have a TikTok. It's the.creative.cactus, and I also have a Pinterest and an Instagram, both of which are The Creative Cactus with 2 S's at the end. Obviously, leave a like, subscribe, potentially, you know, the choice is yours. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you had a fun time.